They do.
So I'm gonna segue a little bit to a little other topic. So Kevin Feige, I'm curious about the quality of the stuff coming out of Marvel, and not just from the MCU. Like, one thing that's been a real big gripe for me, and I know you don't really read it as much or read it or hear about it as much, but I've noticed personally, like, quality of comic books have really gone down in recent years.
Okay.
Like, you know, a couple years ago, I would be able to go to you and say, "Hey, did you hear about that Spider-Verse story?" And you'd be like, "Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah,
right.
That joint
Even if
sounds
I
crazy.
ain't read it, I heard of it.
Yeah, right. You know, hey, did you hear Sam Wilson's Captain America? You know, hey, did you hear this? Now it's like, when was the last time you heard anything about Spider-Man?
Spider-Man, not so much, but like, you know what?
I know who you heard about. Hold on. When was the last time you heard anything about the Avengers in the comics, right? Or Thor?
I didn't even know they were still doing stuff.
Right. So I know who you have heard about, because it's the one property that's been on.
That's all they doing. That's all they checking out. Right? Yeah, that's it.
These mutants are the MVPs right now.
Yeah, facts.
Right? They just put the comic company on their back and started running. So
that's
all a credit to Jonathan Hickman, who and this
trying to
is
get that
else.
GOAT status.
You know, here's something else that bothers me, because I don't know if you noticed, but Jonathan Hickman is leaving X-Men.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, because this was like his swan song, right? Like, this was his main. No,
he's cutting his story short and leaving.
Oh, that's terrible. Because the way he does his long form storytelling, you want him to finish it. Oh, that's not a good sign.
So they're saying it's because the kind of way he reinvented the way the X-Men are in the comic, with them being on their own island and being independent and having more of this independence to them, as far as not relying on or depending on humans to accept them. The writers themselves say, like, yo, we love the Krakoa name, like the other writers, and he wanted to kind of shift things. He's like, listen, this is a 3-part arc. These first 3-4 years, this is part 1. I'm ready to move on to part 2. And they were like, chill, dog. We're having way too much fun in Krakoa, because it sounds like you're going to burn the place down. Let us do more stories with Krakoa. And he's saying, all right, well, if you guys are going to do that, then I'm gonna just exit out right now. I'm gonna change my story a little bit so I can say this is my last book. And he just did his last book like 2 weeks ago. It was called Inferno. It was fantastic. It was, oh my gosh, it was fantastic.
Damn.
And
but it leaves the door open, I'm assuming, for others to step in.
So that he did put together like a good team of writers and editors, and he was in charge of like that whole X-Men section of Marvel.
Yeah.
And he put together his own group of people. Now they're going to run and continue to tell stories on their own. And he's saying, you know, never say never. You never know if I'll come back and move on to progress to the next part of my story.
So when they're in trouble, they'll call them.
Yeah. But the question I have kind of is, because there's been a little bit of another exodus of writers and talent away from Marvel recently, and a lot of them like to dibble and dabble into independent stuff, because honestly they want to see if they can make some money, right? They don't make long-term money drawing and writing comics. They make, you know, day-to-day money, like get by money. At least a majority of them do.
Yeah.
They want to make that, you know, Invincible money, right? They want to get that Walking Dead money. They want to get that Todd McFarlane money, right? So they're not going to get that at Marvel, because they don't get to own the characters they create for Marvel, but they do get to do that if they go independent. So a lot of them are trying independent stuff again. And that's where Jonathan Hickman and a lot of other popular writers and artists are going. A lot of them are going to this thing called Substack. I'm still trying to figure that out, but a lot of them are going independent. And part of me has noticed that if you look back to when it was announced that Kevin Feige was taking over Marvel Comics, I personally noticed, and maybe I'm biased because, you know, You know how I feel about Feige having so much control. But I've noticed a change in the quality of the books. I've started reading less books. Some of the books that I did enjoy that were starting to get going got canceled. Like Ghost Rider got canceled out of nowhere when it was actually good. Like I could never tell you there was a good Ghost Rider story. This one was actually good. And they cut it short. Wow. So it's like X-Men head leaving, Marvel comic stories changing, Miles Morales. Oh my gosh. Everything that they've done with Miles Morales over the past 2 years is just heartbreaking. Have you seen his new costume?
I think so. Is that the one where it lights up a little?
No, the one with like it's like a hoodie.
Oh, I didn't know if that was fan art or not. But if it's the one that's kind of like a hoodie blended with his uniform, I thought that looked dope.
It's like a hoodie with a uniform, and the hoodie goes like this over his face, and it covers.
I thought that was dope. That's because he vaxxed up. He trying to be responsible.
I don't think it's an improvement over his last costume.
Oh, don't do that.
I don't.
Okay.
I think it's like when they changed Peter Parker's costume to like something else, and it's like, all right, that looks cool for a second, but this ain't going to be forever, is it? Right? Like certain characters have that costume that's so closely associated with their identity that if you mess with it too much or you radically alter it, you might alienate fans. Remember, case in point, whenever they try to touch Superman's costume, any single time they try to do something different with Superman's costume, it's like, why though?
Yeah, this is true. Although I didn't mind the Man of Steel update, that didn't bother me
because they reverted some of the changes that they were going to do. Right? He didn't get the neck collar. He was going to get a neck collar that he was going to wear. He was going to get like his sleeves going down his fingers or something. It was. They had to change it back. Or change it a little bit more closely to the classic interpretation because it just wasn't being accepted by fans. It was getting bad reaction.
Well.
Yeah.
Well.
Anyway, that was just my little rant on Kevin Feige taking over Marvel Comics. It's for anybody who's watching this that reads the books, I'm sure you guys are feeling it too. I wanted to just let them know, like, yo, I'm with you.